Good evening and welcome to this edition of sports here as we are getting ready for coverage of North Penn varsity soccer here between the guys, and it will be North Penn facing off against the Radnor Red Raiders here in round 4 of playoff in the postseason. We are here at North Penn's Turf Stadium preparing for action between the Red Raiders and the Knights, as the Knights are looking to get back onto a groove as they had a phenomenal regular season, and tonight they're looking to get back into postseason play here in this playback game against the Red Raiders, who are also in the same boat here at North Penn tonight.
Yeah, so, last game for the Knights, great matchup against CB West. I was at that game, and that was probably the most fun I've ever had at a soccer game or any North Penn sport. I mean, the crowd was great. It got chippy between teams. They went into overtime and then eventually to PKs. And, when you go to PKs, as Coach Duddy said, stuff happens. And unfortunately, the Knights lost that game. And, but they're still alive. They can still make states. And, even if you don't win districts, that doesn't mean it's over. No one cares about districts. Once states gets rolling, and the state champion means a lot more. You have those fire trucks coming back with the bus and everything. Everyone loves it, cheering, screaming their head off for that team. And it's going to be fun to watch the Knights try to get back in states.
And yeah, as that Knights squad take the field here at North Penn, on the right side of the screen, they're wearing their Columbia blue jerseys with the navy blue trim. And on the left side of your screen are the Radnor Raiders in their white and red jerseys. Taking a look at the starters for tonight for North Penn: number 1, Ryan Stewart; number 2, Christian Snyder; number 3, Aiden Jerome; number 5, Alou Sheriff; number 8, James Stewart; number 10, Luke McMahon; number 13, Josh Jones; number 14, Carter Houlihan; number 23, Jarrett Huser; and the goalkeeper for the Knights tonight, Brett Schwangels. For the Raiders side of the field, their starters: number 1, Nathan Congledon; number 4, David Azzarono; number 9, Bobby Hydrisco; number 10, Ben Verbrowski; number 13, Evan Madricock; number 14, Ben Engstrom; number 19, Jacob Lee; number 20, Seamus Kennedy; number 22, Bennett Muller; number 24, Elliot Hayes; number 26, Jackson Briswhistle; and their goalkeeper is number 1, Nathan Congledon. So as the teams take the field, we are set here on a brisky matchup here at North Penn Stadium. So it's cold. The weather's going to be, a little frigid, but the postseason is still heating up, and we're ready for action as North Penn will begin play. It's Carter Houlihan taking it from Luke McMahon, and the Knights will possess here early on in the ball game, starting it off. Get in with the Christian Snyder working upfield. A great toss right up. However, they're going to be called for offsides. Luke McMahon showed a little aggression. He's been a phenomenal player on this Knight squad tonight. Prashant, what can you say about Luke?
I mean, he always comes through in the clutch. He got the winning goal against, I forget it was Penn Ridge earlier in the season, and he hasn't looked back since. He broke his brother's goal record or when he was at the high school, so he's a great player. A lot of goals for this squad.
That's great to see the little brother rivalry, but back here to action is Carter Houlihan taking it on the far side screen, and he's going to be shoved out of bounds along with the ball, and it will stay with North Penn holding on to possession.
And Carter Houlihan, he's a tough guy to get off the field. He played through a lot against CB West. He was limping at the end of the game, and he's going to be a tough player to mark throughout this game.
Stewart will send it, and a long punt will take a bounce into the box. However, the Radnor Raiders able to fight it off. North Penn holding on to possession. And a curved shot will take one hop and will be scooped up by Nathan Congledon of the Raiders, as Radnor will get set to kick it away as they're working to try and get downfield here on their first true possession of tonight's matchup. Heading to midfield, it's going to take a bounce. And meeting in the scrum, Stewart will come out with it. And it's happening upfield. Luke McMahon on the hunt. He'll pick it up in the corner. He'll dribble around his defender. working off, keeping possession for the Knights. Working up a close side of the screen, Christian Snyder sending it across the box and across the net, however, unable to connect as Alou Sheriff will try and hunt it down, but it will roll out of bounds, giving possession back to Radnor.
And you saw that great pass to McMahon, almost made something out of it on the cross as that ball goes out of bounds. But, you know, for the most part, the ball is going to be into Radnor's territory the entire game, as North Penn always dominates possession. That's how they play. That's why they're at Christopher Dock for one of their games. A bigger field, they could possess the ball longer.
And that's why, as you've seen, that aggressiveness being displayed here early on. It's the Knights working in. As soon as they get it about to the logo at midfield, they're kicking it right downfield, trying, using their speed a lot of these players possess on this Knights squad and just beating the defenders and trying to work out for an offensive opportunity. However, it will be the Raiders now taking over as they cross midfield. They're working an attack. Be picked up, sent across your far side of the screen. Raiders setting up a box. It will be crossed in. And a great defensive effort by the Knights, and that will be sent away out of bounds. Just kicking that away was Snyder after a great defensive effort by number 11, Josh Norman. The Knights working down the sidelines. Here's McMahon. Here's the offensive aggressiveness we've been talking about. However, McMahon will be fought off by number 22, Bennett Muller, on the hunt, and a great defensive effort as the Raiders are able to slow down that Knights offensive push. Straight downfield. And you see how quickly they turn a defensive stop and just keep moving and turn it into an offensive opportunity. And that's something this Knights offense and the whole team has possessed all season. Houlihan will head it up into the air as Radnor able to work it out. It'll be intercepted, taken away by number 2, Christian Snyder. And crossed in, trying to connect with McMahon on a great pass by Aiden Jerome, just out of the reach of McMahon. And the goalkeeper, Nathan Congletto, unable to scoop it up and prevent that rebound opportunity as he'll punt this away. Be picked up by number 4, Azarano. And working it downfield. Raiders working the one hop. They'll continue on far side of the screen. But Lou Sheriff will kick that straight back into the cage, slowing down that offensive push.
And Lou's a great defender. He'll always fight for the ball, never gives up. He'll run to the fence if he has to, as he did one time against Satterton. And he's a great defensive player on the field.
A header will be taken away by Stewart. And this will be punted straight towards the screen, right out of play. And also, as you mentioned with Alou, it was great to hear, when we were over there talking to the coach, getting rosters, the head coach for the Knights, Paul Duddy, called Alou over and was talking to him, saying, you've earned this starting spot tonight. And he's just talking about playing smart, continue to play aggressive. So he's finding his spot in a huge game for North Penn. A win or go home for both squads. Yeah. As the Knights working downfield,
and after
go out of play.
Ethan Torrey not being 100%, he was a great player for the Knights. He made so many shots for McMahon, and all the other scoring chances, a lot of them were made from Ethan. So for Lou to get back to earn the starting spot after the injury is big.
And sent upfield, trying to connect with Ben Eggstrom. It will roll out of bounds, and the Knights will take over with possession. We get ready to be thrown in by Christian Snyder. He'll take 2 hops and a long toss into the air. McMahon working off the header. He'll find Houlihan. Carter Houlihan rocking the mohawk. Will send it across for Alou. And on your far side of the screen is a lone man. He'll connect upfield. Fighting off a defender. And that's number 9, Bobby Hydrisco. With the great defensive effort, he'll slow down the Knights, and an offside call on Luke McMahon, and tough break there for the Knights as another great offensive opportunity just taken away with the one whistle. Number 13, Evan Mangercock will kick it away. The Knights fighting for it. Ryan Stewart will head it up. where Radnor right back. He'll send it right back into North Penn territory. Both teams in a scrum right around midfield, and it will be finally sent away by North Penn out of their zone. And it'll be Congleton in the green jersey as he's the goalkeeper for Radnor. He'll send this right back across.
Josh Jones he had another great header right there. He's been doing that all season. Probably the best defender on this North Penn roster. If it's not the man with the ball right now, Christian Snyder. That defensive back is amazing.
Jones definitely using his height as an advantage, especially on defensive plays. Ryan Stewart will be stripped of the ball. Number 24, Elliot Hayes sends it upfield, and this ball is going to head into the night sky, finally reaching back down onto the turf. Both teams fighting for it at midfield once again. And we send away Luke McMahon on the hunt. He's fighting off one defender. He'll try and work off another one, but Radnor able to work it away. Stewart trying to connect with Houlihan. Radnor sniffing that out. And back and forth play. Teams playing catch. Houlihan along the sidelines. He'll try and fake out the defender. However, they were able to stay right on it. Going out of play will be North Penn's ball. And working in hard contact. And Houlihan will come out with it. Off his right foot, he'll get the shot with his left and just missing the net. Looking for the far right side of the post. It will roll out of bounds and it will be Radnor's ball as Houlihan just missing that first goal opportunity.
And you saw Jared Huzar create that scoring chance for Carter right there. That's what he's been doing all year. Jared Huzar has been a great playmaker for this soccer squad, and he doesn't take a lot of shots. However, he did get a goal last game. So
there, Huzar sending it back upfield. Alou will send it away. He'll find McMahon trying to connect with Ryan Stewart, but the Raiders all over it. Take one hop at midfield. Snyder heads it up for Stewart. Stewart back over to Snyder. They'll play back and forth. Snyder slowing things down. We'll send it into mid. McMahon to Jones. To Stewart. He'll take one hop up into the goaltender, and Congleton staying right on it as he shuts out everything around him, including the hard Knights push looking for the rebound. And he'll send a slow roller and kick this away. Stewart will receive it off his chest. Raiders working a hard push. Slide attempt by number 9, Ludwig Pussaner. Unable to do so. And a stoppage of play will be called on the Knights. Excuse me, correction. It's just going to be sent back farther into Knights territory. It looks to be Jones will send this away for North Penn.
And Jones is just a sophomore here, so he still has a lot of potential on this North Penn squad already. Playing for a state title for a 17-1 North Penn squad.
Houlihan receiving the one hop off the chest. He'll find Stewart. And a cross shot trying to connect with one of the incoming Knights. However, a little bit of miscommunication will send the ball right into the arms of Nathan Congleton. And he'll kick this away once again. It's been his job most of the night. As just that one opportunity for Houlihan early on, just a couple shots ago, he was unable to connect. So as for now, that's been Congleton's job, setting this back upfield on punts. Raiders working some offense. Number 14 showing off his dribble moves. Eggstrom will be taken out, and Stewart will pick up the ball. Back on the far side of the screen. Lusharoof playing catch, and here come the Knights working back across midfield. One hop and hard contact. Both players will hit the turf. As Ryan Stewart falling over along with number 19, Jacob Lee. And that just shows once again the aggressiveness, the push and shove. Both teams are going to continue to fight, and that's what we've seen plenty of from North Penn. And as you mentioned earlier, Prasham, as well, that was a lot of scrum in that last game, including a couple yellow cards. Just showing not only the aggressiveness, but also the heart in this team, where they're trying to fight for every possession they have.
Yeah, there was the yellow card when Carter was going down the far side of the field, and he just took the guy down by accident. I don't think it was anything intended. And you're going to see Carter right there. And if Carter gets free down the side, it gets very dangerous for the other team.
It's tough to be a defender when you know Houlihan's coming at you, especially rocking that mohawk haircut for playoffs. And with hard contact, number 11 hitting the turf, Josh Savitov, as contact by Stewart will send him onto the ground, and a stoppage of play as the Red Raiders will take over with possession at midfield. They're trying to get a shot on net as the senior for North Penn and the goalkeeper, Brett Schwengels, has been pretty quiet so far in tonight's matchup.
Yeah, but if he gets a chance, like we'll get right here, he'll always come up
right on cue.
Right there. And there's Carter going down. This is where he can get dangerous, and he just missed. Had a bad touch on that one.
Right on cue, Schwengels scooping that, kick opportunity right into the box. And back to the action, number 10, Ben Verbrowski will toss it in, but North Penn intercepting that right away. Here's McMahon on the hunt. He's working off a defender. And McMahon will stay on the hustle, trying to work this away from another defender. And a great defensive effort as he'll kick that away and turn this into an offensive opportunity. The Raiders working upfield. Number 9, Bobby Hydrisco, fighting around.
There's Alou with a great defensive effort to cause the foul and get the ball back for North Penn.
And that's so great to see, too. It's been a very well-disciplined game. Both teams, just fighting for what they can in the possessions. That's what you expect in any kind of sport. And that's what we're seeing here tonight at North Penn's Turf Stadium as we reach just about 26 minutes here in our first half. McMahon working off the header. The Raiders will stay with possession. Hitting the ground hard after that initial contact. And a stoppage of play. No cards. It looked like it, yeah. Just a hard contact, sending the player on to the turf. The Raiders will get possession out of it. And the header working across. Radnor trying to get it across, however, Jones right over him. And Alou will kick that out of play. And we'll get the verdict here on whose possession.
And it's going to be a corner kick for Radnor. Alou, the ball had not gone out yet, and when he cleared it, it hit the Radnor player, but the ball had gone out well before that.
So Radnor will get an opportunity to try and get on the board, as they've only had one shot on net so far tonight. Let's see if they can try and get a header opportunity and try to beat Schwengels in net. It will be a ground ball, one hopper, and then immediately, beat off by Christian Snyder for North Penn. As corner kick number 2 will be underway in just a few moments. So as for the Red Raiders, they're trying to convert here, as they are in the same boat trying to win this game to get, as it is a playback opportunity to try and get to States. And this line drive will be fought off immediately by Jones and Houlihan. Raiders still trying to work it out, but Jones once again showing off the hops and vertical in the box. He'll work it out, and the Knights will try and fight it off. And the Stewart twins will find each other working it out across midfield. McMahon over to Ryan Stewart. And as the Raiders will surround him, Stewart able to work it away into the corner. Megging defender, sending him to the ground. Ryan Stewart working around another defender, unable to do so. And Ryan Stewart showing off the dribble moves as he sent his defender straight to the turf. And boy, would that have been a highlight clip if Ryan Stewart was able to find the net and connect with the twine. However, it will work out for North Penn. Corner kick, line drive, put a little too much on it. Jones working the header, and what a defensive play in net. It wasn't the goalkeeper. I believe, let's check, number 19 on the defensive play, Jacob Lee. And here come the Raiders working upfield. However, Alou will be able to swarm it up, send it back to Schwengels, and he'll kick it away back out to midfield. And looking back on that, Jacob Lee was almost in the back of his net on that defensive play and using his head to save the shot and the initial header by Jones off of the corner kick, as he'll keep this game tied at 0-0, taking away a goal for Jones and the Knights. And Stewart will send this across midfield. He'll find Snyder. With plenty of time, he'll slow things down, observing his options. Then he'll send this away. Jones, in a mix of coverage, will work a header, but the Raiders will take over. And it looks like Radnor's just trying to work quick possessions, but unable to do so as North Penn immediately all over. Has almost triple coverage on any offensive opportunity so far for Radnor. And as for the Knights, they'll continue the hard push upfield. Jones fighting off the initial block. Both players will hit the turf. And letting him continue to play, Luke McMahon sends outfield Huzar back across. And laying Alfred hard hit on the turf. And the stoppage of play, as it was Ryan Stewart just trying to slide tackle and knock down that ball. But he'll get called. And the referee will talk to him just a moment. Briefing back on Radnor Red Raiders and how they got here. It was similar to North Penn's boat, as Radnor had a first round bye. They won their second round matchup. However, then they fell in the third round matchup by a score of 2-1, knocking them out of contention for a district championship. So as we sit here in round number 4, it is the playback game. Winner moves on, loser goes home here in the state tournament. So something we've pretty much assumed all year from North Penn. Their only loss is coming to CB West, and unfortunately they had another meet up with the Bucks in the postseason where they lost last week. And with an opportunity there for the Raiders, trying to connect with number 9, Bobby Hydrisco. And Alou will get sent to the bench, and North Penn will continue with possession from their sidelines. Hardline drive sent up, looking for McMahon. Raiders able to sniff that out, send it away. Lee trying to connect with another Raider, and it will be fought off out of play. However, it looked like it was off of a Knight's foot. And the Raiders will take over with possession and get ready for the throw-in. And with subs coming in, number 17, Bobby Kirsch will come in for number 14, Ben Engstrom for the Raiders. Immediately thrown in, Houlihan fighting off Kirsch. We'll send it back to midfield. And Huzar will put a body on. And another stoppage of play. The referee's trying to control this as North Penn has been showing the physical play. A lot of players have hit the turf hard in tonight's matchup. But that's always something we can assume from this Knights squad, as they are not only aggressive, but they are hungry, especially coming off of that loss last week to CB West. Alou trying to connect with Houlihan, but he'll be gobbled up by the Raiders defense. At midfield, it's off of a white jersey, so North Penn will take over with possession. Huzar sending it across. He'll find Snyder at midfield. Off of the left foot, he'll send it up to Ryan Stewart. And a great defensive play. Number 10, Ben Vibrowski will send it across. And he'll try and connect with Kirsch, but Alou sending Kirsch hard to the ground, and Alou immediately knew that he just put a little too much aggression on that and sent Kirsch hard onto the ground. An eruption from the crowd. No penalty call at all. However, it will be Radnor's possession. So as we get set, number 13, Evan Madrikak will send it away from midfield. A line drive. North Penn fighting it off. Snyder with the initial body. And then Stewart able to kick it up into the air. McMahon on the hunt. He'll fight off the initial shot. And Vibrowski's pass will be intercepted by Huzar. McMahon back to Ryan Stewart. Up to Carter Houlihan. working around his initial defender. Kuzar on the hunt. However, number 13, Evan Madrakak, able to work it away. And the goalkeeper, Congleton, will just send it into the crowd. A souvenir for the fans here at North Penn, at North Penn's Turf Stadium, as it will be a throw-in for Carter Houlihan and the Knights in their Columbia blue jerseys. Kicked away will be a one-hop, unable to be received by number 21, Seamus Kennedy, and North Penn taking over after the mistake by Radnor. Olu, high fly ball sending to the box, and with the contact, Stort was boxed out on that opportunity to try and get a header off that one hop, and Congleton will scoop it up for the Raiders. And he'll get set to kick it away here as we reach our 17-minute and 20-second mark in our first half of action. We are scoreless here at North Penn's Turf Stadium. McMahon showing off his dribble moves. However, Radnor sniffing out. And Kirsch's possession will be taken away by number 3, Aiden Jerome. And on your far side screen, Carter Houlihan off his left foot. He'll connect with McMahon. Raiders will swarm in and pushed off the ball. However, McMahon able to stay with it. He'll get to Stewart, and with the left touch, almost followed up by Jerome. However, Congleton able to get right to the ball, scooping it up before that rebound opportunity. And the Knights will get sent back across to their own side of the field, unable to score. Stewart playing catch with himself with the headers. Raiders able to take it away. Hard contact there. Jones for North Penn able to work it away. Sending it back. Kirsch and Houlihan will meet up. However, with his height, Kirsch will keep it with Radnor's possession. Houlihan on the hunt. He'll take this away. Hard push along the sidelines. Number 22 will fall to the ground. Houlihan will stay with it. No stoppage of play. Houlihan, what a move. He'll send it across. The shot. And right to the chest from the foot of Hoosier to Congleton in net. And the Knights, possibly their best offensive opportunity, all started with, obviously, done it all season, Mr. Carter Houlihan. Jerome will send it away back over to Houlihan at midfield. They'll send it back to Jones. Back to your close side screen, and unable to connect with Snyder. Miscue, and here is Lee getting ready to toss it in. Or no, correction, he'll give it off to Josh Savadov, throwing it in for Radnor. Number 4, Hazarano will kick it back. And the Raiders looking to try and get something going, but with the header putting a little too much on that, as it will be scooped up by the goalkeeper for North Penn, Brett Schwengel. So he'll send it over for Lou, and then Carter Houlihan will take over at your far side of the screen. Stewart back to Jones, over to Snyder. They'll connect here. Raiders on the hunt, unable to get to the ball as the Knights play catch on their own side of the field. Alou back over to Chris Caputo, and Caputo will send a line drive across midfield. Looked like intended for Luke McMahon, however, well out of his reach. It will just roll over to Congleton, and he'll send this away. Across midfield, Stewart will fight this off. However, it will be a one-hopper right to Kirsch. For the Raiders, Kirsch trying to work around his defender. And he'll send this one-hopper right into the arms of Schwengels. And that's correct me if I'm wrong, Basham, that's only the second time Schwengels had to pick up the ball so far tonight.
Yeah, the defense does a great job. Like I said, Josh Jones, Christian Snyder, and Chris Caputo. You're not getting past those guys very easily.
Send this back across the Raiders. Still trying to work across midfield here. However, Stewart will send this one hopper looking for his brother. And the Raiders are able to work it away as number 9, Bobby Hydrisco, will kick it across, but right into the possession for Jones. Caputo across for Alushroof, and he'll kick this out using his right foot. He'll try and connect. It will be dribbled off. Stewart will pick it up, and it'll be Huzar back across to Houlihan. Carter Houlihan will send this back across midfield, and trying to connect with Ryan Stewart, the one hopper, unable to be picked up, as it will roll out of bounds And the subs will flood onto the field as we are passing our 13-minute mark here in our first half.
And Ethan Torrey's going to check in. He's not 100%, but it looks like he's going to be good to go for as a substitute.
Torrey along with Billy Wang, they'll take the field for North Penn. As the seniors looking to try and get onto the scoreboard and help the Knights out take a lead before the end of our first half. Huzar dribbling around. He'll send this back across the far side of the field. The Knights working along the sidelines. He'll be tripped up, and the Rays will take over. Kirsch putting a little too much foot on this pass attempt, as the Knights will now take over at the Raiders' bench area. Throwing this in, the Raiders will fight this one off, and Houlihan will give it off as North Penn continuing with the throw-in opportunities as a large crowd continues to flood into the North Penn Turf Stadium, along with plenty of support from both sides, both clubs, showing their student section and family support here in this do-or-die, winner moves on, loser goes home playoff matchup. Back to the action. We are still scoreless. Huzar with the header. He'll connect with Ryan Stewart. Or the Raiders will fight it off. Number 13 with another phenomenal effort on the defensive side of the ball for Radnor. Evan Madricock has been doing a phenomenal job so far for the Raiders.
And it's going to be Mike Chafee that comes in for Ryan Stewart here. And Mike Chafee is a great player. If he gets down the field, he can really turn on the Jets and burn you.
A phenomenal athlete overall, playing basketball as well as baseball growing up. He has brought his talents here to the soccer world, and he's going to continue to try and get onto the scoreboard for North Penn along with the offense as they'll work in Radnor territory. However, looked like a bit of miscommunication for the Knights. The ball will roll out of bounds. And number 1, Nathan Congleton, the goalkeeper for Radnor, will send it away once again. Congleton with 2 saves on the night on about 3 opportunities for North Penn on the offensive side of the ball. So when they've been able to get a shot on net, they've at least put it where they could. But Congleton's shown a brick wall so far. Here's Carter Houlihan with another opportunity. And another phenomenal effort by number 13, Madricock, fighting off Houlihan's attempt. And the referees will make their call, saying it was off of Houlihan's foot before rolling out of bounds. So Congleton will take over along with the Raiders. The Knights just unable to convert on those opportunities. And when they put that shot on net, Congleton's been the brick wall for the Raiders tonight. They'll send this to midfield, intended for Kirsch. The Raiders able to continue pushing it up with the headers. And number 24, Elliot Hayes, pass attempt will go into the corner, staying in bounds. North Penn swarming the ball. And number 4, Ethan Torrey, will hit the turf hard. However, he didn't touch the ball, so it will be North Penn's possession. And Brett Schwengels, the goalkeeper for North Penn, will get set to kick this away for the Knights. And as for a look at North Penn's history coming into tonight's matchup and how they got here in this playback game, the Knights also had a first-round bye, similar to Radnor's story. The Knights played and defeated Hapoel Horsham and in their second-round matchup. However, in the third round, North Penn ran into their season foe, the only team to beat them in the regular season, the CB West Bucks. And it was deja vu all over again last week when the Knights found themselves walking out of the playoff matchup with a loss in penalty kicks. And Prasham, you were at that matchup. What can you say about the overall effort North Penn showed? And even though they came up short, how were they feeling walking out of the stadium after that tough loss?
Well, I mean, the first half was incredible. They looked amazing. They were up 1-0, and then when the second half rolled around, they got a few tough calls from the refs. And, there's probably a missed handball call, and then North Penn got called for a foul as Julian's going to go down the side, and let's see what he can do here.
It was Carter Houlihan, a main enforcer in that game, and he's going to do it there as he's going to work a offensive opportunity downfield. However, the Radnor Raiders able to sniff that out. Mike Chafee's pass attempt will be kicked away.
As I was saying, there was probably a missed handball call, and then North Penn got fouled, and they set up a short free kick. It wasn't in the penalty box, but just right outside, and CB West was able to convert on it and tie up the game, and then just great defense on both sides. Kept the game at 1-1 into PKs.
And that defense is something evident we've seen from both squads, especially North Penn, locking it down with only 2 opportunities, including only 1 corner opportunity for the Radnor Raiders. So as they look to continue that defense, the offensive side of the ball has got to get a little sharper, as hard contact will send Huzar to the ground and right back to the action. They'll keep the high tempo play as Chafee try to connect, and hard contact as Huzar came in on the slide trying to get a shot off onto the net. However, number 24, Elliot Hayes, was in his way, and Hayes paid the price as he received a hard hit to his lower right leg. So as we get back to the action, Raiders will take over with possession as that shot off of a Knight's foot went just wide of the right post, and Congleton will send this away. He'll send this across, and the Raiders will send this right back downfield across midfield. Jones will receive it off his head. Huzar to Houlihan. Houlihan showing off his dribble moves. He'll work back to the midfield, and he'll kick across to the far side of your screen. Chafee's playing it back to Caputo, and at midfield he'll be swarmed. However, he's able to get the ball off, and Houlihan back to Jones. Right into front of your screen, it's Snyder. Short pass over here to Huzar. Huzar will push up right between the Radnor defense. He'll keep pushing, then slow things up. Back cross, it'll be Chafee. Hard corner, looking for the top left corner of the net, and perhaps a Ryan Stewart coming in looking for a header as he's unable to catch up with things. Or look to be, yes, it was off of a Radnor Raider. So for the Knights, they'll have a corner opportunity, and it's Jamie Stewart kicking it in. The corner line drive, 1 hop. It will be off of the leg of a Raider. The Knights trying to swarm things, but Radnor working upfield, and number 4, Ethan Torrey, able to hunt things down and slow down that Radnor push on the 1v1 opportunity. Jamie Stewart sent a 1-hopper up to Huzar, and it skipped off the turf a little too much. Put on that as the ball will roll into the crowd. A souvenir for the fans as the Raiders will take over with possession. Ben Verbrowski will throw it in for the Raiders. Once again, Radnor in their white uniforms tonight along with the red trim. And for North Penn, they're still set on your right side of the screen in their Columbia jerseys. I'm Eric Jessberger alongside Prasham Joban Putra as we are getting ready to reach our 4-minute mark here in tonight's action. Here's Huzar working back at midfield. He'll play around, looking for Billy Wang, but he'll keep it himself. Caputo back at midfield. He'll survey his options. Then he'll grab ball to Billy Wang. The Raiders, however, staying with it. But Mike Chafee will come out with the ball, showing off his moves, so he'll kick it back. And looking for a McMahon. He'll get it across. Houlihan will pick up the ball. Bobrovsky right on him. 2 defenders along with Lee trying to hunt down Houlihan. Carter able to work out of it. He'll receive the ball again. He'll work things, splitting the defenders. However, Radnor able to work it away and prevent that opportunity. The Knights will take back over. Jamie Stewart tripped up, trying to fight for the ball back. Raiders working it back. They'll get across the midfield. And here's number 26 on the hunt. Jacob Bertwish fighting off Caputo, but Caputo will reign on top and take over with possession.
Whoa!
And hard contact there for Bertwish as he'll send Caputo to the ground. And both players just on the hunt for about 15 seconds there for that one ball. From the offense to the defense. A stoppage of play. As Schwengel's trying to kick this ball away. Snyder will come back to talk with him. Here's Schwengel's line drive. One hopper to Houlihan. Picked up by Huzar. Back across midfield, the Radnor Raiders able to take over. And this pass to 10 will be taken away, intercepted by Caputo. Getting off to Snyder. Snyder will send this into the crowd. Slowing down Radnor's push. And the stoppage of play as Bertwich will be subbed out for number 20, Seamus Kennedy. And number 10, Ben Borowski will get ready to throw it in for the Raiders. Headed on by Lee, the Raiders trying to work and get a shot on net, but North Penn continuing to demonstrate their strong defense they've shown all season as they're able to work it away there. The Raiders, however, trying to work things back. They'll play catch with each other, and the Raiders will push farther up. The Knights able to head it away. It'll finally fall to the chest of Jones, who will then punt this away. But the Raiders in white fighting it off. Kirsch will take over on your far side of the screen. Left kick off the body of Snyder. Back to midfield. McMahon will be shoved, kicking back farther into his own territory. But the shot attempt by number 20, Seamus Kennedy, will range well far of the left of the goalpost. Giving possession back over to Brett Schwengels and the Knights goalkeeper, as he'll get set to punt it away with 45 seconds left here in our first half of action. The Knights trying to reach the scoreboard before heading to halftime, and they'll have the opportunity here. 35 seconds, Schwengels will kick it away to midfield. Stewart's jump attempt, as he's only able to get to it. Torsi over to Snyder. And it looked like a bit of miscommunication. The Raiders take over, however, Billy Wang, the senior, will take it away. Intercepted by Wang. Here come the Knights. Huzar tripped up as hard contact by number 24. Elliot Hayes slowing things down. Up to 12 seconds. Caputo running it up. He'll get it to Stewart. Hitting 5 seconds. Jamie Stewart with the kick. Curving across, just missing the top right corner of the net. And that will conclude our first half of action. Summing up the first half, the Knights with just inches away from putting that in the top right shelf of the net. The score will remain 0-0, concluding our first half of action here at North Penn's Turf Stadium. And looking at plenty of the action we've seen so far, it's been Congleton in net for the Raiders and Schwengels in net for the Knights. Both squads doing a phenomenal job on defense. We'll see if the offense can pick it up in the second half. I'm Eric Jesper alongside Prashant Jovan Prucha. As we conclude first half action, the Knights 0, the Raiders 0.
The North Penn School District is now using Safe Arrival, an easy-to-use attendance reporting system. Now there are 3 ways you can report your child's absence. The first way is through your smartphone or mobile device with the School Messenger app. Just go to the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store and download the app. Just create an account with an email we have on file for you. Select attendance, and then report your child's absence. The second way is to use the Safe Arrival website, go.schoolmessenger.com. Sign up for an account, select attendance, and then report your child's absence. The third way is to call the toll-free number at 888-239-8495 and follow the prompts using the automated phone system. Now, parents and guardians are able to report absences 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's never been easier. For more information, visit npenn.org.
Good evening and thanks for tuning back into tonight's coverage of boys varsity soccer on North Penn Television. You're tuned into Comcast Channel 28, Verizon Channel 29. I'm Eric Jesberger alongside Prasham Joban-Putra as we are set here for second half action between the North Penn Knights hosting here at their North Penn Turf Stadium, hosting the Radnor Red Raiders in Playback postseason matchup here at North Penn Turf Stadium. It's been a pretty quiet first half. Both teams showing off their defensive dominance. The Knights able to shine a little bit as they were able to put some shots on the goalkeeper for the Raiders, Nathan Congleton. But it's been North Penn's defense locking things down, and both defenses doing that as well. So as we get set here for second half play, both teams heading back onto the field. It's the Knights in their Columbia blue jerseys and navy blue trim on the left side of the screen. And on the right side of the screen, huddled up, the Radnor Red Raiders in their white jerseys with red trim. And Prashant, what can you summarize from that first half and some of the big impact players we've seen so far?
Well, North Penn's doing North Penn things. You know, they always dominate possession, get most of the shots off, and some of the key players, Luke just getting out in front, making things happen, along with Carter making things happen on the side.
And as the large crowds continue to funnel into North Penn Turf Stadium, both sides of the field, the fans fill up, and we're back to postseason action as it is a frigid Tuesday night here in October. However, the postseason continues to heat up as it is a do or die. Winner goes on, as it's a win or go home for both squads here in the matchup. Both teams tied at 0-0. As we get set for action, it's going to be Jones here on the hunt for the Knights. Snyder will send it upfield on the left foot touch. However, roll out of bounds, and the Raiders will take over at midfield. Pump fake, he'll throw it into a safe toss. And Kirsch trying to take it. However, Huzar will take that away, intercepting the pass. And Jerome sending it into North Penn's bench on the far side of the field. The Raiders will take over from their right side of the screen. They're shooting on the left side as they are looking to connect with very few offensive opportunities in that first half, as only 2 corner attempts. That's all they had, besides about 4 shots on net. It's been pretty quiet for goaltender Brett Schwengels so far in the matchup tonight. Caputo will head this away, but the Raiders will stay with it on the offensive pursuit. A great touch off the chest of a Raider, however, they're unable to continue the drive. And McMahon will take it away, sending it across field. Working on his defender, Jerome, back across to McMahon. Along the sidelines, Huzar will take over. He'll dribble round 1, dribble round 2, and then number 22, Bennett Muller, able to fight things off and send it out of bounds. As a corner opportunity, the first corner opportunity of the second half, will be sent away by North Penn senior Aiden Jerome.
And watch Josh Jones. He likes to creep in on these corners, as use his height to maybe poke one in with his head.
Line drive will curve just over the box as Kirsch able to fight it away for the Raiders. Caputo will fan on his shot, and then will be off the hands. However, the Knights will continue their push. First save, we fought off, and then be fought away. Fans on the clear attempt, but they're able to work things out. The Knights, however, right back on the pursuit at midfield, and it'll be finally scooped up by the Raiders as the goalkeeper, number 99, Cole Schwartz, subs in here in this second half of action for the Raiders. So getting a quick taste of this North Penn offense, as we've seen plenty of in the first half, as well as all season. Schwartz was put right into the mix, right in the box on that corner opportunity for North Penn. The fight for the ball continues at midfield. Ryan Stewart will come up with it. Trying to work around his defender. Kirsch will take it away from Jerome. And Kirsch sending it up. Raiders on the hunt. Blue Sharif able to fight things away, keeping the ball in bounds. And that Caputo will kick it away. He'll find Luke McMahon off his foot. Defender falls, trying to fight it away, but McMahon will intercept it away. He's trying to connect with Carter Houlihan on the far side of the screen in the corner. A defender gets set to the ground. Play will resume. And then Houlihan will be stripped of the ball by number 14, Ben Eggstrom, a main enforcer and game impactor in the first half. And he's getting right back to doing what he does best here in half number 2. And a stoppage play as the officials will give the ball back over to the boys in white. The Raiders will get ready to send it in. And on the toss will be Ben Verbrowski. And another stoppage play. A couple whistles break out as the Raiders sending that line drive across to midfield. We'll just do it all over again. The officials stopping play. Now we'll finally get back to action. Verbrowski will send it upfield. Getting it back, and then he'll kick a line drive. Ground ball. Scooped up. Kirsch will send a one-hopper as he'll connect at midfield, and it looked to be off the hand. And called against number 9, Bobby Hydrisco. And North Penn is on the offensive hunt. Pass intended for Jerome. The ball will slowly roll out of bounds as it looked to be off of the foot of a Raider. So North Penn will get set with a shot opportunity as it will be Jamie Stewart looking to answer for North Penn. Right here with this kick opportunity. And Prashant, what can you say about these kind of opportunities North Penn has had all season, and what do you expect here from Stewart and his fellow teammates?
Well, like I said, Josh Jones is always someone you have to watch out for when you know he's going to be crossed into the penalty box. He always uses his height to poke it in.
Kicked on far side, headed back to the center, and with the opportunity, Aiden Jerome putting a little too much on that as the hop came up towards his hip as his kick heading straight over the crossbar up through the uprights. However, unable to find the back of the net. Keeping the score 0-0. Schwartz sending it away to midfield, and the Raiders will get ready for their offensive pursuit. Slide will keep the ball in play by number 9, Bobby Hydrisco. Raiders still with possession. The Knights showing off their defense. However, Kirsch able to fight things away. Hard contact. Huzar unable to come up with it. Now he'll intercept it off the foot of Kirsch. And at midfield, Houlihan will get ready. He'll dribble around one defender and get it off to Jerome on your far side of the field. He'll now be taken over by the Raiders. Hydrisco will send a flutter pass up into the air. However, no Raider able to answer that pass as Stewart will take over. From his own end, he'll kick a line drive. One hopper to Jones. Quickly off to Jerome, and Huzar on the hunt, trying to catch up with things, but number 13, Evan Madrakak, able to hunt things down for the Raiders. Jones with the header, back to Stewart at midfield. Blue Sharif off his right foot, he'll send a one-hopper up, but Madrakak able to fight things off again. It will be Kirsch at midfield, kicking off back over to Kirsch. Fails on his initial shot. However, Jamie Stewart will stay right on it, giving off to his brother Ryan Stewart, and then back over to Luke McMahon, the senior, with a kicker towards the, trying to cross to the net. Verbrowski fighting it off, sending it back to McMahon. Pass intended for Huzar, unable to connect, and that will be sent back out to midfield. And Caputo will head it into the stands. A souvenir for the fans on hand tonight. And it'll be thrown in here for the Raiders. Fighting off Alou, applying the defense on number 26, Jackson Whistle, and the ball will roll out of bounds. The Raiders will continue with possession as Radnor in white will toss it back into play, trying to convert on an opportunity. Number 9, Bobby Hydrisco will send it away, but Stewart able to fight it off for the Knights. Aiden Jerome will keep things going. However, his pass will be intercepted, intended for Houlihan. Right back to him. He'll send it back up to Carter Houlihan. Slide tackle, he'll miss. Houlihan by 1, by 2. The shot on net, saved by Schwartz in net, fought away as the ball rolled far to the right of the goalpost. A phenomenal save by Cole Schwartz in net for Radnor. However, for the Knights, they're unable to pick up the goal as Carter Houlihan showing off phenomenal dribbling as he was able to put a shot on net, but Schwartz's denial will just leave the Knights with a corner kick. Back goes Jones putting a header on net, but Schwartz unfazed as he'll receive this one off the chest. And Jones showing off that vertical height as we've mentioned all night. And Schwartz punt will roll straight into the stands, and it'll be North Penn taking over. Number 4, Ethan Torrey will send this high downfield. He'll connect with Luke McMahon. A header to Huzar. However, the official will stop the play, calling offsides, and Radnor will take over. The goalkeeper, Schwartz, sending a high line drive into the night sky, fought off by Stewart. Continue to be fought off by Jerome. Houlihan will send it back, and Huzar will fight off the Raider, number 11, Josh Safidov. And a little bit of a push call will give Radnor the ball. As Carter Houlihan just getting and seeing what happened on that last call. Back to the action. We'll resume play as number 26, Jackson Burtwhistle, will kick it away. The players will rush from your far right side screen to the left towards the net. Burtwhistle with the left hook. It's a fly ball straight into the air. And fought off by Stewart initially, and it will get out to Houlihan. Houlihan with the touch. He'll get up to Torsay, and he'll follow with McMahon. However, McMahon trying to fight that ball off. It will be taken away by Radnor's defender, number 10, Vorobrowski, and kicked back out to midfield.
And Josh Jones is going to be whistled for a dangerous jump right there. And he just loses his height right there to get over him. And unfortunately, a bad call for the Knights.
And the officials definitely controlling this game, especially knowing how chippy North Penn can be. You know, it's great to see the aggressiveness, but for the disciplined side, you want to try and avoid that, especially in a do-or-die game here tonight. As the winner will move on, loser go home. We're still tied here, 0-0, as we get ready to pass our 28-minute mark here in our second half of play at North Penn's Turf Stadium. Once again, I'm Eric Jetsberg alongside Prasham Joban Prutra. And Prasham, what can you say about some of the action we've seen so far and the fact that the stakes are as high as they can be this season?
Well, this has actually been more of a surprising game from the Knights. They always come out fast and furious in the first half, which they did, but they always capitalized too on that, and you know that just didn't work out in the first half. And we're gonna see what happens here, as you know usually they get up quick, focus on defense. They have to focus on both aspects right now.
Alou Sharif will sub in now for the Knights. And Storr will fight this off. Alou trying to keep this in play, but well out of bounds as Radnor will take over. Number 11, Josh Safidov, get a safe pass in. He'll get it right back from his teammate, but then a little too much put on that pass opportunity as it will roll out of bounds. And it will be Brett Schwengels kicking it away for the goalkeeper. And a line drive close side of the field. And Kirsch will receive the header. McMahon will initially fight things off. as possession will be given back over to Radnor. Luke keeping it in. He'll connect with Ryan Stewart. Fought off by number 4, David Hazarano. And Aiden Jerome working around midfield. He'll be swarmed by Vavrovsky. And Snyder receiving it at midfield. Snyder will hit the ground hard, and a stoppage of play as number 9 on the hard defense effort, Bobby Hydrisco, connecting with Snyder. And possession will be given back over to North Penn. And it looked like Snyder feeling that hard hit as he's favoring his right leg. As he'll lip around trying to work it off. As both teams funnel downfield into Radnor territory. It will be Stewart kicking it away. Right touch line drive heading towards the net. Trying to connect with Jones on the vertical height. However, it will roll out of bounds, and we'll get the call here from the officials. Whose possession? It's North Penn's. So with the corner opportunity, Ryan Stewart, the junior, and lefty will look to try and put North Penn up 1-0 and reach the scoreboard for the first time tonight. Hard hook trying to connect with Jones once again. Caputo on the hunt, but the Raiders sniffing everything out. It will be a Lou kicking away. Line drive sent back into Radnor territory. And Schwartz able to hunt it down just before Jones was able to catch up with the ball for North Penn. And Radnor will take over. And Schwartz will send a line drive back across midfield. Alou, another phenomenal defensive play. He'll keep the possession for North Penn. Carter will hand back to midfield. He'll connect with Stewart. Back over to McMahon. Here to hold hand on the close side of the screen. He'll send a little flutter pass upfield. Trying to get it to... Here's Jerome. Keeping it in bounds. Working on one defender. But Radnor staying tough. Houlihan along the sidelines. He'll be stripped of the ball. And Radnor will kick it away. Right back into the possession for the Knights. The Knights goalkeeper Schwengels back downfield. Ryan Stewart hit hard. He'll hit the turf. And possession given back over to North Penn as number 4, David Hazarano, pulled down Ryan Stewart along with the ball.
And Ryan Stewart takes a beating every game. You see him with the wrap over his hand. He got kneed in the head last game, and almost a scuffle broke out right in the middle of the field. And Ryan Stewart's a tough guy on this team.
Ryan Stewart will head back down towards the net as his brother Jamie Stewart will kick it away. Line drive, Schwartz all over it. Jones with the opportunity. He'll hit the turf hard after he was the man above boys on that hop, as he was well over his defenders trying to get the header on net. However, a little too much on that. He's unable to connect with the back of the net. Score will stay 0-0 as we pass our 24 minutes here in our second half of action at North Penn's Turf Stadium. Houlihan will receive off his chest and kick it up to Huzar. And back on North Penn, playing pass in Radnor's territory. Huzar back to Jamie Stewart. Back to Huzar. They're slowing things down, weighing their options. Kick back to the box. And a lot of contact will come out. It will be North Penn taking over the possession along the far sidelines. Sent back out. Radnor displaying their defense as they've done all night, especially in that first set. Score will continue to stay at 0-0. Tossed in North Penn. It will be intercepted by Radnor. Back to the midfield. Lee will send this along. Radnor trying to chase things down. It's number 9 on the hunt, Bobby Hydrisco. However, Schwengels will kick it immediately away, slowing down the push. However, Radnor will continue with the possession. It will be a throw-in for Kirsch. The overhand toss will be to Lee. And fighting around defenders, he'll send a ground ball. However, it will be scooped up. Another great effort by Christian Snyder. Houlihan will be wrapped up, no call. And play will continue. And then finally slowed up as Houlihan came up from that
And here comes the
scrum
card.
with hard hits, and a card on Carter Houlihan.
And it's his second card in 2 games.
Beat me to it. Unfortunately, his second in the past 2 games. As Houlihan will have to take a bench. Taking a seat along the sidelines. As a stoppage of play, the officials will meet up to converse about that last call. And unfortunately, Houlihan will be on the bench. And Prashant, what can you say about the loss here for Carter Houlihan in this second set?
And with the score at 0-0, that's a huge loss when you're talking about such a great offensive player in Carter Houlihan. Just burning out guys on the side, and he makes things happen for this team. And that's a huge loss at 0-0 game.
So back to action. North Penn will continue with possession. Stewart will kick it away. Kirsch will fight this off for Radnor. And the Raiders will take over. Back out to midfield. Snyder will fight it off. And the Knights will send it back upfield. Trying to connect with Luke McMahon. Unable to do so. However, Caputo on the hunt. He'll continue to push hard upfield. And it will be number 11, Josh Norman, continuing with possession for North Penn after being swarmed up by 2 defenders. Oh my goodness, sent to the turf. Was a Radnor defender, however, the Raiders will come up with it across midfield. Hard push for Hydrisco. Alou on it, slide tackle, pushing the ball away, sending Hydrisco to the turf. And the correct call, no call on that last play. Great defensive effort by Alou Sharuf, as he has earned this spot here tonight. As we mentioned in the first set, when Prashant and I went up to talk to the head coach for North Penn, Paul Duddy, about rosters and their road to tonight. Coach Duddy pulled Alou aside real quick and just mentioned, you've earned this start tonight. Continue to play smart and aggressive. And he's answered Coach Duddy's call.
Yeah, that was the right call to not have a foul there, as Alou got to the ball first and then made contact with the Raiders' leg right there. So great call by the refs.
Bobby Hydrisco will get ready to toss this in, as the Raiders are in North Penn territory, trying to get on the scoreboard for the first time for either team tonight. Hydrisco sending this across the midfield, and just no Raider there to answer, as Jones will immediately take it away and send it upfield. Norman on the hunt. He'll be fought off by number 22, Bennett Muller, and sent to the sidelines. Norman got a foot on it just before rolling out of bounds, and the Raiders will take over with possession, as they'll get ready to throw it in. Number 11, Josh Safidov, throwing this towards the middle. He'll connect with number 28, Charlie Berniker. Jones taking this away at midfield, the sophomore, showing a little bit of defensive dominance as well, along with his squad for North Penn tonight. And North Penn will work this all the way back towards their own net, as Stewart will send it over to Alou. And the Knights will play catch back to Chris Caputo. The senior for the Knights will send it back over to Stewart. Playing catch, slowing things down and weighing their options. Stewart will then finally send it upfield and connect with his brother Ryan Stewart. And Ryan Stewart will hit the ground hard. And with a stoppage of play, North Penn will hold on to possession after Ryan Stewart was tripped up, favoring his left leg. As Ryan Stewart will give it off to his brother Jamie Stewart. As Jamie will try and work around the wall put in front of him of Radnor defenders, and try and put a shot on to number 99, Cole Schwartz for Radnor. Jamie will send it across, looking for Ryan Stewart and Jones, however unable to connect with him. Radnor will muff it down. However, Caputo will continue the push, sending it across. And with a stoppage of play, Radnor will take over with possession. So the officials, they're doing their job tonight. They're slowing pushes down. You're keeping everything contained. And they are just affecting all these offensive pushes both teams have had so far, especially North Penn. When they've been fighting for the ball, get a little too scrummy, get a little too scrappy, and they'll immediately slow things out with a whistle. Jones' header will head back towards his own net. However, North Penn able to help him out. Snyder knocking it down, but it will find Kirsch on the hunt for Radnor. And Hydrisco fighting around. Alou able to cut things off and unable to keep the ball in play. And subs will come in for Radnor. As we'll get set to resume action once again. Tonight is a winner, move on, loser, go home, do or die playoff matchup here in the postseason, as the district championship picture and story is out of reach for both of these squads. However, a state championship is still on the hunt for both teams. However, tonight, one team's story will be closed, but another story just beginning on a state championship run. Kirsch will send this high kick, and with the header opportunity, it will roll out of bounds as number 24, Elliot Hayes, receiving the header from Kirsch. He's unable to find the back of the net, and the Knights will take over with possession. And that definitely perhaps is Radnor's best opportunity, as they had Schwengels well out of the net. However, they were unable to execute that opportunity.
Carter Houlihan's going to enter back in for the Knights, so let's see if they can make that final run with 17 minutes left.
You can expect Houlihan to be as hungry as he always is, but even more so, especially coming back in with the playoff mohawk some of the Knights players have been rocking here throughout school and here in tonight, as they'll look to continue that playoff mohawk onto a state championship run. However, they will need to top the Raiders first in this 0-0 game with 16:25 left in our second half of action at North Penn's Turf Stadium. Jones will fight off the opportunity for the Raiders. And for the Raiders in white, they'll continue a push. Number 24, Elliot Hayes working around the defenders. North Penn still trying to fight things off. And play will finally be slowed up, as off the foot of the Raiders, it will roll out of bounds, giving possession back over to the Knights, as their goalkeeper for North Penn, Brett Schwengels, will kick it away. And we've seen a ton of offense provided by North Penn all season. We've seen them when they're at their best, especially. Brashawn, what can you say about it's a 0-0 game? What can you say about the defensive effort both teams have been able to put up, and how this game can be considered as kind of unique for the season so far?
Well, like I said, North Penn always strikes first in the first half, and they come out fast and furious with goals, and almost got one right there. But it's been very curious, or not curious, or more unique, as you said, that haven't scored yet, and nothing still. They gotta have to put a run together, and we'll see if they can do it here.
Yeah, unfortunately, McMahon, with that initial trying to connect on that pass to number 23, Huzar, then followed up by Jamie Stewart's hard shot, however, just going over the crossbar. But they'll get another opportunity here, as Jamie Stewart will kick it away. A brick wall put up in front of them by Radnor defenders. And this is a crucial moment. Stewart cross, trying to connect with Caputo off the back foot of Houlihan. It will stay in the scrum in front of the net. Coming out, a shot put on, fought away by Radnor. Kirsch will come out of the scrum with it and send it back up to midfield. Radnor working a little bit of their own push. Christian Snyder will send it back to Schwengels, as Hydrisco was on the pursuit. He's unable to answer back with it. The play is just heating up. Snyder working off of the defender. He'll find Houlihan. Houlihan on the pursuit. He'll hit the turf hard. And a great defensive play by number 22, Bennett Muller, laying out on the slide tackle, knocking the ball out of the possession of Houlihan. And Houlihan will hit the ground again. However, the ball will find Jamie Stewart. Players hitting the turf as Kirsch hit the ground. And a stoppage of play Kirsch favoring his left shoulder. However, Jamie Stewart showing great sportsmanship as he went up to make sure Kirsch was all right. And Kirsch will take a knee as he's down on the turf, favoring his left shoulder. And we'll get a stoppage of play as the trainers will come out to check out Kirsch for the Raiders. And the officials continuing to, make their calls throughout tonight's matchup. It's been crucial moments, and the crowd has definitely been answering to those calls plenty tonight.
Yeah, you see that more in soccer than probably in any other sport. And I think it adds to the effect of the game for sure, though, in all seriousness. I was here for that CB West game, and at right midfield, you heard North Penn in one ear and CB West in the other. It was great.
For Radnor, they're trying to convert another opportunity, trying to reach the scoreboard. Score stays 0-0 as the defenses on both squads have been stellar tonight, along with goalkeepers for North Penn Schwingles, and for Radnor, their goalkeeper, number 0, Henry Cook, have done their jobs phenomenally tonight. However, for the offenses, both teams have had their opportunities. The Knights more so tonight, especially with the multitude of corner attempts. And as for Radnor, they're just looking for that one break and one meet with the back of the net. And Houlihan trying to break free. McMahon on the hunt. However, Radnor will kick it away. And it will take a one hop right into the arms of Brett Schwengels, the senior for North Penn. So we'll send it away over to Alou. Alou working around one defender. And he'll send it back to Schwengels. And a hard line drive. Trying to connect with Norman. And Norman doing what he could. However, it was a tough read. And it will roll to the sidelines.
And I wouldn't be surprised if you see Mike Chafee as he's warming up on the sideline. And that makes sense for North Penn. Get that speed out there, make one final run, put the goal up with 11 minutes left. And you're going to see Mike Chafee come in now, and we'll see if he can put in that speed. Ain't Jerome's going to come off, though. And he's been a great assist guy for the soccer team. And he also always comes up big in the clutch a lot of times. So we'll see how, if that's the right move, Chafee over Jerome.
I also believe it's correct to say that that's the first time Jerome's taken a seat,
yeah,
during a play from tonight. So he's done a stellar job, creating the opportunities, and has been a brick wall, especially at midfield, applying the blockade, knocking things down, and, at least preventing Radnor from working a quick offensive push, because he's right there to slow it down and create a little scrum. So as for back to the action, at midfield, both teams will meet. And getting to defense will be off the referee's leg, and will go over to Radnor. Caputo will fight it off. And the Raiders will take over with possession. The fans are letting that official know where that pass is going, right to the possession of Radnor. However, no harm done, as the Knights will get the ball back after Radnor's unable to catch up with things along the sidelines. And Schwingles will kick it away for North Penn. Line drive to midfield. He'll find Mike Chafee, the junior. Looking to show off that speed Prashant mentioned just a couple minutes ago. He'll be sent downfield. Luke McMahon on the hunt. Unable to catch up with it. Norman fighting off the defender. As Lee will send this up into the sky. Norman still fighting now with two Raiders. And still fighting for the ball. Raiders finally coming out with across midfield. Number 14, Ben Engstrom. However, Christian Snyder will take it away and immediately tripped up. And with a stoppage to play, a yellow card on number 28, Charlie Berniker, will send Berniker to the sidelines. And with a stoppage to play, North Penn will now take over as they'll check out with Christian Snyder. That's the second time he's hit the turf hard tonight and has had to come up holding that right leg and limping just a bit. A Maine senior North Penn's trying to keep in the game, but he's been taking a beating so far. However, for his performance, it's been stellar. On the defensive side of the ball, him and Jones for North Penn have been applying the blockade in front of Schwengels and is keeping this game at 0-0. For the Knights, Jamie Stewart will kick it away across midfield. It will find a Lou. He'll take a tap, however, taken over, and a yellow card immediately applied to Lou, just trying to catch up with the ball as number 24, Elliot Hayes, hit the ground. And this game's getting chippy as the CB West game was. And Lou will be subbed out for senior Billy Wang, as number 0, Henry Cook, will kick it away. Both crowds getting louder here as this game continues to heat up. Cook's kick will be sent downfield and immediately stopped as whistles will blow. Stopping and sending it back. We'll redo it all over again. And as for Radnor, their student section has come here to support their squad, and they're doing so tonight. And sending it farther back, it will be Henry Cook kicking it away once again. The goalkeeper for the Red Raiders. And Cook's line drive, sent on your far side of the screen. Fought off by Jamie Stewart. Huzar trying to catch out with it, where the Raiders will continue with possession. Number 4, David Hazarano, will dribble it around Billy Wang. And with the ball rolling out of bounds, Billy Wang will take over. He'll give it off to Jamie Stewart. And the junior will take a hard throw. And the official will slow it up, saying he went up a couple too many steps. Jamie Stewart throwing it from the sidelines. He'll send it downfield into a mix of red jerseys, trying to connect with Carter Houlihan. And Wang will take it over, but send a one-hopper into the crowd. And the Raiders will take over. Number 11, Josh Safidov, a key offensive player for Radnor so far tonight, as he'll give it off to number 4, David Hazarano. But Hazarano will send this into the crowd and out of play. And with the stoppage of play, number 11, Norman, will be subbed out.
That's for Aiden Jerome.
And Chafee's kick will be fanned and roll out of bounds off his left foot. So we'll get set to do it again. Safi Dove will toss it in. 2 hops and a toss up. Billy Wang will fight it off back to midfield. Luke McMahon back to Czar, trying to connect with Houlihan. However, Vrobowski able to fight it off once again. Huzar following it up. Vrobowski fighting off Houlihan, displaying a strong defense he's shown all night. As Chris Caputo fighting off as the defense side, he'll give it off to Billy Wang. Billy Wang with his knee will fight it away. And with a stoppage of play, North Penn will continue with possession. The ball will be given back to Jamie Stewart, the junior for the Knights, at midfield, and reaching our 2-minute and 20-second mark on our second half of action. This is all we have left in tonight's matchup. The left hook, Jones will keep it in bounds, and with the ground ball put on the ground, Henry Cook will scoop it up. The goalkeeper for Radnor slowing down another push and sending both teams swarming away from his own net. Back across midfield. Jones trying to connect with things. He'll be off his chest. Caputo fighting off number 24, Elliot Hayes. Hayes continuing the push. He'll find Hydriski, but showing off the vertical hops, it's Brett Schwengels for North Penn, the goalkeeper, snagging that out of the air. And he'll kick this away high into the night sky at North Penn Turf Stadium. He'll find Mike Chafee immediately to Billy Wang. Hydriski will kick this one out of bounds off the foot of Wang. North Penn continuing with the possession. Ball back out of bounds, but Billy Wang will do it all over again. Throwing it in, trying to connect with Carter Houlihan along the sidelines. And an over-the-shoulder kick will keep the ball in play. And possession for Radnor. Kicked high into the sky. Jones all over it. He'll head this one farther up towards the logo. Off to Jamie Stewart. Huzar on the hunt. However, it will be taken away by Radnor as number 19, Jacob Lee, will connect on the far side of your screen. Megging Mike Chafee. Radnor will continue the pursuit. And a ground ball kick. Schwengel's laying out to his left. And with the first couple shots we've seen put on him tonight, Schwengel showing highlight saves as he continues the blockade for North Penn, keeping this game 0-0. 5 minutes and 20 seconds left here in our second half of action and game tonight. Caputo giving off to Mike Chafee. Immediately taken away by number 4, David Hazarano. And continuing the push, he'll get off to Hadrisco. However, it will be off his left foot and roll out of bounds. Billy Wang will communicate with Mike Chafee and his teammates. And with a crow hop and a toss in, he'll send this away off of the head of McMahon. Trying to connect with Houlihan, but Radnor will take over. At midfield, number 24 with a long pass from Hayes to Burtwhistle. Burtwhistle will cross it back, but with too much put on that, the ball will stay in play, and Christian Snyder will take over for North Penn. Left foot line drive on the far side of the screen will be intercepted by Radnor, but taken right back by North Penn. Houlihan to Huzar, cross midfield and the logo. Huzar dribbling around one defender. He'll continue to split the defense, giving it off to Jerome. Jerome dribbling it back out, slowing the push, but sniffing it out was the Radnor defense, sending it back across. Jones, the lone man at midfield, will send it to the close side of your screen. Mike Chafee in a 1v1. He'll push hard and immediately shouldered away by number 11, Josh Safidov, and both players will hit the turf, but play will continue. Aiden Jerome back across to the center, trying to connect with McMahon, but Radnor's defense will stay strong. Jones back across. It's Huzar all alone. Pushing on to the right. Fought off by the defender. Huzar continuing the push. Followed up by Mike Chafee, trying to put a shot on net. Fanned on the clear attempt. Radnor just trying to kick it away, and they will do their job, slowing down that North Penn push as Mike Chafee had an opportunity to put that on net. However, it was number 11, Josh Safidov, applying the defense. And a muff kick will send into the air as both teams try and get the ball. It will be rolled back out. The Houlihan connecting with Jamie Stewart, back across to McMahon. And it will be the Raiders taking over Brodsky. And at midfield, Billy Wang will beat him to the ball. Jamie Stewart will get it across to Huzar. Huzar once again all alone. He'll kick around one defender. Working hard to his left, shot put on net. What a save by Cole Schwartz with another vertical hop. Two hands and a vertical jump. All he needed to kick that away and keep this game 0-0, reaching 2 minutes and 20 seconds. It was Huzar trying to reach the top corner. North Penn with another opportunity. Header attempt will continue with North Penn possession. Huzar cross to Jones. Shot put on net. The header immediately snagged out of the air by Schwartz. In net for Radnor, and with both benches up and the crowd on their feet, both teams showing off phenomenal offense and defense as they displayed all game. Mike Chafee pushing down the sidelines will put a little too much on it, and it will roll into the crowd, giving Radnor back possession. Radnor will make their subs as number 28, Charlie Bernico, will sub into the game for number 19, Jacob Lee. Number 11, Josh Safidov will toss it in, and he'll connect with number 9, Hydriski. And back upfield, Radnor will scoop it up, fanning on the kick. However, it will reach another player kicking along. However, number 26, Jackson Burtwhistle, unable to catch out with it, as Schwengels will scoop it up and kick it back across for North Penn. Chris Caputo, met with a hard hit by Hadrisco. It will be fought off. Mike Chapey connecting with Huzar along the sidelines. It's a tough push into the corner. Slide tackle applied by Hadrisco. No call as play will resume. Huzar back on his feet. He'll get it off to Chafee. Chafee with the cross attempt, but scooped away. Fought off by a Raider. It was Josh Safi-Dove on the defensive play, heading it to his goalkeeper. But back downfield, Radnor continuing the push. North Penn's got to get back. The Raiders pushing hard. They'll now slow things up. Corner line drive. You'll find kick attempt and back of the net, bottom right corner. It's Radnor taking the lead with 19 seconds left. Number 28, Charlie Berniker, subbing in about 2 minutes ago, will find the back of the net. Radnor leads 1-0 with 20 seconds left here in our postseason matchup. Radnor taking the lead. And North Penn stunned here along with their crowd. As correction on that last goal, number 26, Jackson Burtwhistle found the back of the net. On the slow ground ball, just beating Schwengels to his left. North Penn will bring all they got, as Caputo and Schwengels will head back to midfield. And, unfortunately, North Penn wasn't able to get right back down onto their defense. As back on their offensive push, it was Huzar getting tripped up. The crowd thought there should have been a call. And unfortunately, they were looking for that penalty. However, the ball got back downfield. Houlihan will put a shot onto Schwartz. Or immediately scooping it up. Schwengels on the hunt. Schwartz will scoop it away. And with 10 seconds ticking and the clock rolling, McMahon trying to put a shot on net, but it will be kicked out of bounds by number 13, Evan Mendercock. And Radnor will roll on to the next round. North Penn defeated on their home turf with a late minute heroic goal by number 26, Jackson Burtwhistle. Radnor will move on, and North Penn season will conclude. 1-0 is your final score, as after a phenomenal season by the Knights, unfortunately wrapping up a little sooner than expected. As for Prasham Joe Bonprucha and our crew here tonight, our cameramen, putting up a phenomenal show tonight. Playoff action will conclude here at North Penn Turf Stadium. I'm Eric Jesperger. Thanks for watching, and have a great night, everybody.